from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. We help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. We are so glad you are here. The phone number is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. So a little inside baseball and stating the obvious for those of you watching YouTube. We're trying a new rig today that is going to be our new thing with microphones and actual in-ears. We've worn the sports headsets I have worn the sports headsets for 20 plus years. And the reason was we used to do a lot of remotes and things out, and the microphones and the earphones and so forth were better for that. And I tend to wander all over the place and flap my hands while I'm talking, and it kept me on mic back in the day. But I started on traditional radio mics back in the day, of course, and did the first decade on microphones much like are in front of me again right now and are in front of Christina again. So the team has said every 20 years you ought to change something, so we changed something. So if you're tuning in today, you're getting a full bald head with no microphone to cover it up. So I had to really work on my hair for the day, make sure it's all dialed in. And Christina's hair's not messed up for a change.
Right? Thank God.
Yeah, so all of our guests except me are going to have a much better hair day, and it's hard to improve my hair day. It's just about as good as it gets, and it's that way all the time. So if you're tuning in on YouTube or you're watching a podcast in some form that has the video with it, yes, we know there's a change. Thank you. We're just saying it out loud. 888-825-5225. Michael is with us in Madison, Wisconsin. Hey, Michael, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Sure. What's up?
So I'm wondering, I read your book, Total Money Makeover, and I'm reading Dave Says Millionaires. But my question is, for my business, I'm debt-free, and I decided to buy a building using your method of paying cash for it. Mm-hmm. And now I have all my debts gone except my house.
Good.
And I'm wondering, when does the math play in? Like if I'm expanding my business, to continue doing that debt-free or pay down the mortgage?
Oh, you're saying whether you use some extra cash you've got from this point forward to pay off your house or whether you expand your business?
Right.
Yeah, both. I'm going to take a good amount home and get my house paid off as soon as I can reasonably, and I'm going to keep expanding my business. But am I going to pay nothing on the house so that I can expand the business more? No, I'm not. I want to get the house mortgage gone too. Because here's what happens, Michael. How many people have you got on your team in your business?
6.
Okay. I was at 10 or 15 people when I got my net worth back to $1 million and I was 100% debt free. From that day forward, my business decisions were affected positively because I was not afraid.
Yeah. I'm kind of at that point.
Yeah. You feel that way around the business, but you're going to get one more click on the notch, not 10 clicks, but you're going to get 1 or 2 clicks more when you pay off the house. When you go, now we're just in a Monopoly game.
Right.
And every time we pass go, we click $200. Oh, and we hit free parking. Woo! Here we go. And it changes the way you look at your business, and you'll never, I take a lot of risks with our business, but all with cash. And so if it goes sideways and I lose my butt on something, it's my butt, not the bank's butt.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and it changes. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. So, yeah, go ahead and work towards getting your house paid off.
Well, what's your hesitation? So after, buying, the business building in cash and going on this journey, what kind of switched and made you question?
No, I wouldn't say I have hesitation. I went gazelle intense doing the building. But I have such a good interest rate that's so low that, I that's my only hesitation. Yeah. My decision has given me a double-digit return on the building. So no, I have no hesitation.
So what I'm proposing is that you're going to make a lot more on your business because you're going to make different decisions than you're making on that mortgage.
Okay.
So you've kind of got it envisioned. I'm borrowing money at 3%, so I'm making money by reinvesting it somewhere else. I'm saying your decision-making paradigm will change enough to offset that interest rate because free people make different decisions than slaves.
Correct.
And that's what it comes down to. And so I've watched businesses and entree leadership do this for decades now. And when they get everything paid off, building, house, everything, they have zero debt, their need to take on a marginal customer who's high maintenance and just to take on the cash flow, it's like, you're a high maintenance customer. I don't make much money on you. I'm going to go ahead and fire you as a customer. And, oh, by the way, that frees up resources and bandwidth to take on good customers that are a lot more fun, and you make more money on them. And so, but you don't drop that marginal customer if you've got a mortgage hanging over your head. You hang on because we need the cash flow, and that kind of stuff. And that's the way it works in your brain when you're running a business. So, which path 10 years from today, 15 years from today, do you think will take you to the best place? And I'm sitting there 10 or 15 years the other side of you, having done the exact same thing you're doing. And I can promise you the one I'm giving you will be a place that you'll be happy you went to. And there's no economic situation or political party in power that will make you sad that you're debt-free.
Absolutely. Yeah, your story is literal walking proof of this. You didn't go the fast way. It's similar to a lot of our money principles where, yes, there's other ways that people tout as getting rich quicker, but sometimes the slow and steady path with biblical principles is the way that will get you further in the long run. Yeah,
it always does. It's never the microwave. It's always the crock pot. And I'm now starting, after 30 years of doing this, to really see in a lot of our customers and a lot of our friends and in our families' lives, what we didn't realize was going to be positive. I mean, math, first thing is you go, I'm saving all that interest. Oh, I can't get foreclosed on. Oh, and then you start to realize I make different decisions. My tolerance for crazy customers is much lower, which also makes you more profitable, by the way, and makes your life better if you're running a business. My tolerance for team members that misbehave is much lower. I have grace for them, but my need financially to put up with someone because they're bringing money into this building is zero. So it causes me to not make decisions based on anything except principle. This is The Ramsey Show.
We were drawn to Christian Healthcare Ministries because we both had young families and we wanted to have more children. And we had also just started a real estate company and needed to find healthcare coverage that would meet our needs. We were attracted to CHM because of its low monthly costs and the ability to negotiate medical costs down.
Established in 1981 and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, CHM is here to meet the needs of your growing family or small business. Check us out at chministries.org/budget.
We absolutely believe in it.
Merry Christmas, America! In case you couldn't tell, the debt-free screams are kind of a big deal around here because the folks who stand on that stage are heroes. They choose to live like no one else, and now they get to live and give like no one else. And that's why we have started I started giving every one of them, doing their debt-free scream, the Live and Give box. It's the toolkit that'll help you walk out the whole baby steps journey. So it's the Total Money Makeover book, the Baby Steps Millionaires book, and an entire year of Financial Peace University. All of this is just $99, and that's over $200 worth of items. So it's a great deal. If you're brand new to the baby steps, this takes you all the way through the baby steps and gives you every detail putting you into Financial Peace University that you should have been living with all along. So if you're debt-free and you're on your way to being a Baby Steps millionaire, this is how you can give like no one else and pass on the freedom. The Live and Give box. Go to RamseySolutions.com/box. RamseySolutions.com/box. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Ron is with us in New York City. Hi, Ron. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you. Big fan. Big YouTube fan.
Well, thank you. How can we help, sir?
Yeah, so I have roughly about $17,000 in student loans and around $58,000 in my savings account. And I just wanted to find out if it was a good idea to kind of pay down the loan completely, but it would deplete my savings about 1/3. So, they say cash is king, especially post-COVID, so I'm kind of just fearful of, not having too much money in my savings, but I also wanted to know your opinion about paying that down.
Pay off your loans. I love that this is an easy conversation because you got the savings, you got the money to do it. I mean, we walk people through the baby steps, $1,000 starter emergency fund, then paying off the debt, and you got it, which is very exciting.
Ron, you having a hard time getting a date, so you want to date Sally Mae?
No, not specifically. I do have aspirations of buying a home, and this is the most money that I've had.
Would you borrow a student loan to buy a home?
No.
Okay. If you use money that is in your account that is equal to your student loan, you realize it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So I've got aspirations of you buying a home too, but I don't want you to do that with Sally Mae having to live in the extra bedroom. Since y'all aren't going to date, she shouldn't live in the house.
Yeah. Even if the interest rate is pretty favorable, I think it's at 3.4%.
Yeah.
If you could borrow $20 million at 3.4%, would you?
I think I would, yeah.
Yeah, I think you'd be broke in a short period of time after that.
All right.
So, no, if I were you, you call and ask us what we think you should do. Christina's right on it. I would pay off your loans as soon as you possibly can, quick as you can. Get rid of them. Get rid of them now. And that's your shortest distance. The shortest distance between where you are and being a baby steps millionaire or being a millionaire is to get rid of your debt and open up your most powerful wealth building tool, which is your income.
Yeah, and I just think it's such a mindset shift because I think there's a lot of fear in the world and there's a lot of misperceptions and people feel like they need to hold on to their cash. But if you have debt, that's not safe.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's interesting is that you're afraid of the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. You should be more afraid of having that debt if it's a fearful time out there, and it is a fearful time out there for a lot of people. But you should be more afraid of being in debt at times that are crazy like this than you should be $17,000 less in your $58,000 bank account.
Exactly, and going into
you're not even going to know the difference.
Yep, and going into purchasing a home. Buying a home when you're debt-free outside of that mortgage is going to give you so much more security. You don't want to have a mortgage payment in addition to having student loans that you're still dragging around.
Absolutely. Regina is in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hi, Regina. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Hi, Christina. Happy holidays to both of you.
You too. How can we help?
I have a question, and it's going to be a Dave, what would you do in my shoes? I have a debt of $6,800 total, been following the baby steps, working desperately hard, 3 jobs. I have a specific debt that is owed to my ex-husband of $1,700. He has threatened to take me back to court and to incur fees on this debt. I do owe him the money. I fell behind because I owed him $150 a month, and unfortunately I was down with COVID. So he is now threatening to take me back to court, and then they actually add on fees and interest. I want to kind of jump off the baby steps, pay him from a loan at a 401k, and get rid of him and get him off the ledger for the year. What's your thoughts?
So you're working 3 jobs. How much are you paying towards debt each month with those 3 jobs?
Honestly, I went from having 6 or 7 debts to having these last 2. One is
how much
him,
a month are you paying on debt?
Currently, I'm paying about $500. I'm trying to pay off my automobile. That's the only loan I have outstanding.
And him.
And him, yes. But I want to just pay
How much
him
money do you
off.
have in savings?
Zero. I literally have.
You don't have the
been paying debt.
$1,000 saved that we told you to have?
Unfortunately, no, Dave. I had an emergency, so I did have to use that.
Okay. What do you own that you can sell?
I have everything for sale except my bed. It's online already, and I'm working on that. It's just not coming quick enough.
What are these 3 jobs that you're doing? What type of work is it?
I do different Lyft platforms, like, rideshare platforms, and then I also have a day job, and then I donate blood.
What is the money due to him for? Child support?
No, it's attorney's fees that I owed from the pandemic. They extended and extended and extended and extended, and unfortunately, I incurred.
Oh, that you owed before the pandemic.
Yes,
You had to pay your ex's attorney's fees. Why?
Because I had a bad lawyer. You and I have already discussed this, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. So this money has been outstanding a while.
I have been consistent until the last 6 months. I fell off the bandwagon because, again, I was done with COVID.
You weren't down with COVID for 6 months.
Yes, sir.
Are you currently working?
I am. I have a great job that I work remote, so I can stay with the day job, but I couldn't be with the public and do the platforms or donate blood.
What do you make?
Currently, I make right around 47. I'm sorry, 47. I make 57 annually when I do both the other jobs.
So you're bringing in $4,000 a month?
Roughly.
Yeah. Okay.
I also have child support out of that, so it does decrease that quite considerably.
You have to pay him child support?
Yes, sir.
How much?
It's $350 a month.
Okay.
With this $1,700, what do you feel like is the runway before you're in trouble with it? Like, how much longer do you have to pay that?
She's already waited too late.
Dang.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay,
if you send him $500 a month for 3 months, he'll lay off because he can't even get a court hearing before then.
He's probably already had the paperwork submitted. He's that person. He's your mama's boy.
No, you're the person that worries about him being that person more than he is that person. This guy's been ringing your bell a long time. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it already.
That's why I want to get rid of him.
Yeah, you're not going to get rid of him. You pay him $350 a month till your kid is grown. So he's in your life, and your kid is in your life, I hope.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Duber's in the picture. You're just not getting rid of him.
Amen.
Okay. I don't borrow on 401ks, so that's why I'm hammering around the edges of this trying to figure it out. Have you tried anything like your credit union to borrow the money?
I can't. No.
Okay. Then what I would do is just stop spending on anything and start sending him $500 to $1,000 a month and get rid of him, and then catch up on your other stuff. If you get behind on something, so what? But you're paying your car nothing extra, or paying it a month late. You're paying your light bill a month late. You're going to crimp down and just get him some money really, really fast and get him out of there. But I'm not going to tell you to go borrow on your 401k. It helps in the short term, but long term, it's going to cause you all kinds of problems. If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular, and roller shades shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. So for the email inbox, you can always send us an email if you want. The email address is ask@RamseySolutions.com. Dave, I recently read an article that said you called the universities that are promoting online gambling idiots. I cannot agree more. I myself got addicted to gambling online, and it started in college. It was accessible, but not as easily as it is today. I was a functional gambling addict for almost 20 years. It got so bad I embezzled $1 million from my bank that I was working for to pay for gambling, and I served a 3-year prison sentence for my crime. I am recovering and doing well, but obviously no gambling. Thanks for speaking out. This addiction is serious, and it's the real thing, and the last place it needs to be is on college campuses.
Oh, that's heavy.
Yeah. So the Caesar has invaded the college, and the colleges are selling, some of them, for big money, access to sports online gambling to alumni and students.
The colleges themselves?
The colleges themselves are selling off their mailing lists, basically, and serving up the people that they're supposed to be serving, the students, serving them up to Caesar. No pun intended. Actually, Caesar. Yeah, really, Caesar's. Caesar's Palace, like the little weird commercials with the guy with the thing on his head and all that crap that runs over and 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 over, like all prescription drugs run over and over and over and over on the sports shows. I wish, by God, they had more than 3 commercials while I'm trying to watch a football game. Oh, drive me nuts.
That is so toxic and so crazy. In an industry that already has so much toxicity around student loans, to now be selling their list to gambling companies.
Big money, too. Big money.
Is that they're making money from selling the list, or do they get commissions from?
They're making millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's Deloney and I covered an article on it here on the air the other day, and that's where I went off and called them all idiots and morons and all those names I'm not supposed to use that I do on the air. Names that are illegal by the FCC, but not by my wife. And so the FCC says I can call people those things, but when I get home, Sharon says you shouldn't talk like that on the radio. And I'm like, well, it's only one way to describe people like that, morons and idiots. That's the only thing I can come up with. So, I mean, who trashes the next generation and exposes them to the second fastest growing addiction in America today? Fastest is online porn, second is online gambling. And you don't think we know these numbers? I mean, guess who we get to coach and counsel for crisis financial counseling all across America every day, not just here on the air, but with our 5,000 plus Ramsey coaches that have been trained by us. You know who walks in their office most often? Addicts. Because 100% of addicts have financial trouble eventually. And so guess what we get to see? We get to see the actual ends of the research that shows that, actually pornography online is destroying families at a rate that no one talks about and is unbelievably addictive. And then right with it, gambling. And but it's cool to bet on the football game now because, by God, we have advertised until we made it cool. And so used to be you went to some back alley bookie and wondered if you were going to get shot. But now you just log online and it's a cool dude from Caesars. And other cool dudes are on the commercial with him. Shouldn't have done that, Peyton. Bad call. Just calling you out there, my brother. Think about what you're setting people up for. It's awful. Just awful.
I mean, these are the same people that are allowing 18-year-olds to take on thousands of dollars in debt. So it doesn't completely surprise me.
Hundreds of thousands.
Exactly.
We're not only allowing, encouraging. Gary's in Houston, Texas. Hi, Gary. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, hi, Dave. How you doing, buddy?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Hey, yeah. Well, here in Houston, I'm 72. I don't actually have a retirement other than Social Security. I get about $2,400 a month, and I have $30,000 in savings. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I have my house up for sale. My fiance lives about 150 miles from me, and she has a house that's paid for, so I'm selling mine, and we'll get married. I'll move up there. Okay. But here we are talking about how are we going to develop money, and of course, if I sold it, I would be able to make about $200,000 on it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
She says, why don't we just lease it out? Because my payments are only $882, and I could lease it out for $1,900. And so I just been struggling with this, so I thought I would touch base with you and see what your thoughts on this, because I'm 72, but I'm healthy.
How long has the house been on the market?
Oh, I got in the market late, in I think the 1st of September, last of August, and so it's set for 72 days, and I had 2 buyers that fell through, and so now I lowered it. My realtor said, well, let's lower it from 320 to 305, and I still haven't gotten any bites.
Okay. Well, I mean, typically December would not be the hottest month for people to be looking at houses. We used to have a saying in the real estate business: if somebody wants to look at a house in December, by God, show it to them. They need a house. Because everybody else is out shopping for Christmas and seeing Santa Claus and all that stuff, right? So it's not a great month for you to expect big results on a price reduction.
I agree.
Once you approach Thanksgiving, the market slows down until after the first of the year dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's back up a second. No, I want you to sell it. I don't want you to rent it. Your fiance's wrong. Here, let me give you 2 major reasons why. Okay.
Good.
One, 1,800 minus 800 when you're renting a property is not 1,000. It sounds like it is, but once the property is empty a while, you don't get the full 1,800. Once the property is not paid by the tenant and it takes 4 months to get them evicted, you don't get the 1,800. Once they decide to change their Harley oil in your living room and you get to replace the carpet because you can't find them because they skip town after that, it's not 1,800. So with the numbers you're giving me, you're about going to break even.
Okay.
So I don't want to break even. You want some money. Number one.
Sir.
Number two, it's very, very difficult to be a landlord, particularly a first-time landlord from 150 miles away.
Correct.
And do a good job at it. Even if you had a management company or a trustworthy relative to watch over the property, it's still not going to be watched over like you would watch over it. And you're a first-timer. You're going to make mistakes on which tenants you put in. All of us do when we start that. So I would rather you take less money and have all the money and none of the hassle.
That was my thing. I was trying to tell her, hey, well, I think we ought to sell it. And I do want to plug this in real quick. Of course, I've got a realtor that as of January, my contract ends, and just out of the blue, okay, well, I'm a Christian. I believe in praying, okay? So I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. I just felt like I needed to wait. And so I've been patient, and then all of a sudden this Chinese lady knocks on my door yesterday, and she said, hey, how come you took your house off the market? I said, well, it's around the end of the year, and people are really not looking. And she said, well, my sister doesn't speak English, but I know. I said, well, I still have a realtor. You can check with him. And she said, oh, well, if you didn't have a realtor, we would like to negotiate with you, and my sister doesn't speak English, but we're interested in buying your house. We really like it.
If you're a good Christian, you also believe in the devil. So you should be real careful here. This smells like a scam. Scam. Run. If they can walk through your realtor and make you a valid offer, that's fine. But if they need to dodge your realtor because that way they can scam you, that means you need, oh, but she doesn't speak English. You can work through a realtor if you don't speak English. It's okay. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome to The Ramsey Show. Christina Ellis, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Alex is with us in Louisville, Kentucky. Hi, Alex. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Great. What's up?
So I got a $20,000 debt that is being garnished weekly from my paycheck.
Ouch. What's that from?
It's from a side-by-side that I purchased and then lost.
Wow. Okay. Expensive side-by-side.
Yes. Yeah, I've got all the bells and whistles.
Okay.
And I'm curious, I have about $80,000 in equity in my home and another $6,000 in personal loan and credit card debt. If I should sell my house and pay off all my debts and just rent until I can buy again, or...
How much other debt other than the 20? Say it again.
It's $26,000 total in debt.
But 20 of it is this garnishment?
Yes.
What's your car worth?
About $5,000.
Are you married?
No, divorced.
How much do you make a year?
$68,000.
And you have no money, I assume?
None.
You would have already paid it. You wouldn't have called us, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And is that $68K? Is that just from one job, or do you, by chance, do other things? Okay.
There's just one job.
Well, that's good news.
How much is your house payment?
My house payment's right at $1,100.
Okay. You have kids?
Yes, 4.
Okay.
Do you have custody of the kids?
50-50.
Okay. Well, the house is always the last thing I sell. And then the question I always ask myself, and then all of us here on the show ask ourselves, is what would we do if we woke up in your shoes? What would be our next step? So if I'm a divorcee, a bachelor, the house is not that big a deal. I do need a decent place that I'm renting that I can take the 4 kids to, right, when it's my turn to keep them. But home ownership, just a bachelor, loading up your stuff and moving out, it's not that big a deal emotionally. How long ago was the divorce?
About 6 months ago.
Yeah. Okay. If I'm in your shoes, a fresh start does sound pretty appealing. So yeah, cleaning this thing off and then, storing the rest of that and restart my baby steps. You're debt free. Now you build your emergency fund, then you start saving to buy a house. Because my guess is if you had $80,000 in the middle of the kitchen table, you wouldn't go buy a house right now.
No.
Obviously, you would pay these things off. You'd set your emergency fund in place, and then you start working towards a house. Is there anything in particular about this house that causes you just dying to keep it?
No, actually, the house is almost getting too small for the number of kids I have.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, I'm kind of thinking, if I'm in your shoes, $26,000 when you make $68,000 isn't that much money. We have people pay off a lot more than that in not very long, and you have 50-50 custody. So you said that $68,000 is from one job. And so you have margin with your time when the kids are with their mom. If I'm in your shoes, I'm going gazelle intense and just knocking off that $26,000. Now, that's not to say you don't sell the house just because you want to sell the house, but I think you can knock this out.
Yeah, you could probably be done in 9-10 months. I mean, $2,600 a month, but that's just living on beans and rice and beans, and working 2 jobs, And, just rolling up your sleeves and saying, I want this crap out of my life. I want all this negative things in my rearview mirror now that the divorce is in my rearview mirror, rather than looking at, and then I've got a clean future out ahead of me, and I'm a homeowner with a bunch of equity. So, I think it's an awesome opportunity to just clean it up if you go do what Christina said. It's probably a better plan than I was coming up with. I'm just trying to think. He's probably emotionally wrung out after the divorce, but you don't have the constrictions on your time. So you got the kids when you got the kids, but when you don't, be at work.
Right. Well, and I can hear so much heaviness in his voice, and it's easy when you're in those really heavy situations to only tunnel in on big sweeping actions. So paying off the house, selling the house, having that $80,000, that feels good because it's an immediate win. But I think you can fight through this. And I think that you need to hear that you can do this. We see people on this debt-free stage all the time who've paid off way more money than that and have a really difficult situation. So I think right now, I just want to encourage you that you can do this. You can have a house with $80,000 in equity and have no debt if you're willing to fight for it.
Yeah. One of the things we always say around here when we got something tough in front of us, business-wise, is we say, what must be true? So ask yourself, what must be true for me to have $3,000 a month on this debt and be done in 9 months? What must be true? That means I'm working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and I'm never seeing the inside of a restaurant, and we're not buying a bunch of crap, and we're not going on vacation, and we're going to clean up the mess that we made with the side-by-side freaking Bentley side-by-side, but that you end up $20,000 upside down on it. I mean, that's a story. How do you, I can imagine buying one for $20,000, but how do you end up losing $20,000 on one?
But I think he already feels that shame. Like I can hear that in his voice. No, I'm just saying that's the thing. I want all that. If I'm him, I want all that in my rearview mirror. Right.
And so you can channel that, if I'm him, to be angry, not at myself, but just at cleaning up the mess.
Exactly. And how good is it going to feel to know that you fought through it, that you took ownership of it, and that you fought to pay off that debt? When you get to the other side of that, you're going to have such a feeling of just relief and pride in the fact that, yeah, you made a mistake, but you know what? You fought to overcome that mistake.
Caleb is in Fort Myers, Florida. Hi, Caleb. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, how's it going, Dave?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
So I am currently 18, and I have 2 credit cards. However, I set them up on automatic payments, so they don't hold any value at the end of the month. So I'm debt free. However, I have been saving up some money, and I have about $70,000 saved. And I was wondering, should I invest that money, or should I go ahead and look towards a place to buy a condo or apartment?
Did you say $70,000?
Yes.
At 18?
Yes.
Way to go, Caleb.
Woo.
That's impressive. Awesome. How'd you do that? What do you make?
Worked through high school and save my money. I'm not really a huge spender. And
I can tell. No, you don't spend on anything. What do you do for a living?
That's the thing is not going to college, and I started a family business with my dad a couple years ago, and I'm just working with that right now.
And you're making obviously good money.
Not really. Only taking about $45,000 a year out of that.
Are you still living at home with your parents?
I am.
Okay. All right. First thing I tell you to do is go get an apartment before I talk about buying a house. Okay. Or go get you a place to live and establish yourself as an adult somewhere. You don't have to do it today, but that's an interim step before you talk about buying a house. Way to go on the $70,000. So the answer to your question is, I always ask myself, what does the data say? What do the actual facts say to become, say, a millionaire? Okay, we studied 10,000 millionaires. The number of them that said, I became wealthy because I have credit cards that I pay off every month and never carry a balance. The answer that the people that became wealthy because of that action is precisely zero. None of them did.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of them do what you're talking about, and most of them don't. If you're going to pay it off every single month, just use a debit card.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're not carrying a rattlesnake in your pocket hoping it doesn't bite you. Because if you keep playing with snakes, eventually they're going to bite you. I mean, you've made it like one whole year or something of your adult life doing this. So you're asking for trouble. I wouldn't ask for trouble. I would just get debit cards, use those, and continue to pile up cash and buy a house someday when you're ready. You're doing really good. But I wouldn't play with snakes. This is The Ramsey Show.
Have you been inspired to make a change with your money? Want to know where to start? Take our 3-minute money quiz to get a plan you can follow. Go to RamseySolutions.com and search for Get Started to get a plan for your money.
From the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. We help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today as we answer your questions about your life and your money. Open phones at 888-825-5225. David is with us in Dallas to start off this hour. Hi, David. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Yes, thank you, sir, for having me.
Sure. What's up?
Yeah, so just quick context. My wife and I, when we were engaged, did FPU. That was 6 years ago. We are now $5,000 away from being debt-free, aside from our mortgage.
Way to go!
Just $5,000. Yes, thank you. Just $5,000 left of my student loans. Here's the thing: we're pastors here in Texas. We are moving to Oklahoma to be pastors of a church there. And what's awesome as part of the deal is we have a parsonage, so we will not have a mortgage payment there. And so my ultimate dream is that we are financially independent from the church. I love the church. I would love to one day not even have to take a paycheck from the church. And so what I'm seeing is our expenses are staying the same. Our income's actually going up a little bit with this move. And I would like to turn my house in Texas into an Airbnb property and hopefully even make income to take one step closer to being financially independent from the church. And so my question really is that a smart move, or should I just sell my home here in Texas, profit, I don't know, the way the market is right now, I could maybe profit 60, 70K, something along those lines from what I've seen. And so I'm just asking you what maybe the better or best option is.
I love your goal, and I don't dislike your plan overall. I would sell the house and move the money to Oklahoma, pile up some more cash, and pay cash for your first rental in your own backyard. Airbnbs have two problems that all the people that talk about how much money they make with them don't bring up. They have three problems that people don't bring up. Problem number one, there's a ton of hassle, a lot of details, a lot of work involved in getting the people in, getting them out, getting them cleaned, all that kind of stuff. Like probably 25x a normal rental, because you'll have multiple renters in a single month, right? And so you've got maid service, you've got a higher level of maintenance, you've got a lot of work involved in managing and messing with them. Okay, so a lot of hassle.
Could I speak?
Go ahead.
So sorry to interrupt. Can I just speak to that? I do have family here in Texas that would be managing the property, and so I kind of have a little bit of a built-in system where
which is a bad idea. You're taking advantage of your family. Okay, I'm telling you, Airbnb, the hassle factor is very high. There's great money, but the hassle factor is very high. So if you want to do an Airbnb, it needs to be in your backyard. Problem number one with Airbnbs. Problem number two with Airbnbs is you have a lot of extra maintenance. People tear the crap out of your property. Nobody talks about that. That's the dirty little secret of Airbnbs. You're constantly buying carpet. You're constantly buying paint and drywall repair because they do not take it. I don't care how big a deposit you get or how much screening you do. It's not their house. And so you're going to have a high level of repairs and maintenance, which is part of that hassle factor. The third thing that nobody's talking about is several areas are now passing zoning prohibiting it.
Right.
And so if you set your whole model up only on Airbnb, that you could have the rug jerked out from under you. If the only way the deal works is Airbnb, don't do the deal because it might not be available to you. Now, if you want to run the hassle for the extra money and run the maintenance for the extra money, you'll make more money. But it's a lot of work. So I would move the money to Oklahoma, whether you're going to do a straight rental or whether you're going to do an Airbnb, because it's in your backyard and you're going to lay your hands on it. And you are a man who controls your destiny. You don't ask your first cousin to do it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what I would do if I were in your shoes. But I like your overall idea, but let's just pay cash for a rental and go that way. Christina?
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of Airbnb owners, and it kind of does feel like a part-time job for a lot of them. And
you get 6 of them, it's a full-time job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree that having your family do that would kind of be taking advantage of them, especially if you're not paying them, if they don't get a cut of that profit.
And if you start paying them, then the need for doing an Airbnb goes away.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just a lot of mental aspects of like, I mean, there's a review system on there. So even with the maintenance, even with keeping your Airbnb up, you want to make sure that it's top notch because you want those 5-star reviews. If not, you're going to have a tougher time booking people, and the list goes on and on. It can definitely be more of a headache. And I think your heart is with the church. You ultimately want to pour your heart into the church. That's why you want financial independence, is so that you can love on people better. And if you're stressed out by this basic other part-time job, that's not going to be the best use of your energy.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. I love your move to Oklahoma, and you're making more money. Just take the fact that you don't have a house payment anymore, pile it on top of that $60K, go pay cash for your first house, then pile all that rent up or Airbnb money up, whatever it is, and go pay cash for the second house, and then go pay cash for the third house. And you end up with 5 or 10 properties. You'll have enough income coming in that you are independent, and then you can decide how you're going to serve the church and what the financial arrangement of that is. That gives you the option of that. And it does put you in a completely different position in the church world, for sure. And I love your heart and where you're talking about going with it.
Yeah, and that's a super exciting move. Congratulations with all of that. A new job, new promotion, and not having to pay rent or a mortgage. That's outstanding. So I think you're going to be able to pile this cash up quick.
Yeah, it's going to put you in a really, really good position. So I've got a good friend that is a pastor, and he started at that age buying properties, and he's done exactly what he's talking about doing. He's got a lot of real estate, become wealthy, and he didn't steal the money from the church, and he didn't get overpaid by the church. He just managed his money well for decades and has a bunch of paid for real estate now. And he's good at real estate. He's a pastor, but he's good at real estate. And so, he's managed the properties well, and it's like his little side job, so to speak, his hobby. He loves fooling with it, and he loves messing with real estate like I do. And he's just done very, very well. So he's many, many years ahead of you, David, and has done what he's put himself in a position that he's independent from the church. And so his publishing deals, all that kind of stuff, he doesn't have to be, quote, owned by the local congregation, unquote. And it might even change your preaching a little. You never know. Could. With some people it would. There you go. This is The Ramsey Show. Look, I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey, to start your approval or get more information. Merry Christmas, America. We're so glad you're with us. This is The Ramsey Show. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. Find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. With free samples, free shipping, and new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use the promo code Ramsey to get the best possible deal.
Today's question comes from Ashland in Texas. I received a student loan refund from the Relief Act pending the student loan discharge. Now that the court has blocked the discharge of loans, should I send the refund back to my lender for the loan? Dave, you know I love talking about this. It kind of feels like right now it's like the Wild West out there with this whole Student Loan Forgiveness Act. I'm hearing things about people just getting these refund checks that didn't even ask for refunds. They're just sending the money back, even though they didn't request it. And then some people are asking for the money back. So for those of you who don't know, people who paid on their student loans during COVID, since student loans were paused, they're eligible to ask for a refund on that money in hopes that student loan forgiveness will go through. But here's the thing, it's not gone through yet. And I think a lot of people are seeing these refund checks and assuming that that's their money now, almost as if forgiveness has happened and that all is okay. But I really want people to stop for a minute and realize that that money, until and unless forgiveness goes through, that's debt. They're just putting you back in debt with those refund checks. So if you have...
It's one more time that the government used the wrong word. Mm-hmm. It's not a refund. It's not a refund. They just loaned you $10,000 more.
Yeah.
You had $30,000 in debt. And now you have $40,000 in debt.
Well, they sent money back that you paid during COVID.
I know.
And
you're back in debt.
You're back in debt.
Or you're in debt more, one of the two, whichever one it was. But yeah. So they just put you back into debt. As of this moment in time, if they sent you $10,000, you now have a $10,000 debt. It's not a refund. It was a loan. They loaned you money again.
Right. And student loan forgiveness, it has not passed at this point. So it is so important that if you got money back, if you got that refund check, do not spend that money. Don't spend that money. Now, if you want to send it back, I mean, that's up to you. Again, this is kind of all new territory. This is a very strange situation for us to be in.
What's the downside of sending it back?
The downside of sending it back?
Nothing.
Right.
If they do forgiveness, they're going to send it back to you again.
There you go.
If they don't do forgiveness, you're not screwed and in debt again. So send it back.
Well, and the danger of keeping it is...
You're in debt.
You're in debt.
Until they pass all this crap and they get it through, you might be 96 years old when they get this stuff through.
And there's that temptation.
That's assuming you're 16 now, by the way.
There's that temptation then to spend that money.
Oh, no. Yeah. It's not a temptation. It's a likelihood. So, yeah, send it back. You ever get one of those things in the mail from the rip-off finance companies, like companies like Beneficial, which isn't? You ever get those checks in the mail? It's like, just deposit this check.
Yeah.
You ever seen those?
I've seen those.
It looks like a check. You ever seen them? When you flip it over, it's a 34% interest loan. And you can just deposit this $1,000. They sent you a check like it was for $1,000. What was it? It was a loan at 34% from Beneficial who's not. That's what it was, right? That's what they're doing.
But they're here to help you, Dave.
Yeah, they're here to help. We're from the government, and we're here to help. Those are words that should chill the very spine in your soul. Oh, my gosh. So, yeah. Send it back. Now, let's see. We got a February Supreme Court date to rule on what the lower court has already said, that Biden's student loan forgiveness program is not valid. Okay? Supreme Court has now been asked to rule on it. They say they're going to rule on it in February. And after they rule on it, you know what's going to happen? You have a Republican majority in the House, and you have somewhat of a tie, or whatever the flip we want to call it, in the Senate. And so it's going to get all stirred up and tied up in Congress, because the Republicans are going to try to pass a bill to keep Biden from doing this. And so it's going to get frozen again. Oh, and then it's going to get frozen again. Oh, no. You're going to be 96. You're going to be 96 years old when this crap. I'm not kidding you. When we were a kid, we used to say, just redneck language. It's like, well, that's going to take an act of Congress. And what we were saying was, it isn't likely to happen. Well, this takes an act of Congress, probably, and it's not likely to happen. So you do what you want to do, but you asked us, Ashlyn, which is a dangerous thing because we are experts in our opinion. I would send it back.
Well, and here's the thing. By sending it back, by not counting on this forgiveness, like you said,
now you don't have debt.
Right. What do you have to lose?
You might lose. They might come out and go, well, the people that all sent it back, we're not going to forgive theirs. They might do that. You might lose the money. But let's see. You already owed the money like you borrowed it. So, oh well. Joe, who's a welder, and Susie, who's a waitress, the taxpayers are bearing the burden of this, by the way. And Joe, who's a welder, and Susie, who's a waitress, who didn't go to school and doesn't have any student loan debt, get to pay your debt. And they don't have to pay yours because you had to pay your own debt? Oh, darn. I morally hate that you paid your own debt and Joe the welder and Susie the waitress didn't have to pay your debt for you. I really hate that for you. That's just, Dave, you're not very empathetic with the Gen Z generation. They need you to meet them where they are. I don't need to meet them where they are. I need you to grasp what's going on right here. It's a moral obligation when you sign your name to pay something that you go pay it. And when you don't pay it and the taxpayer has to pay it, that's unfair to the taxpayer. So give the refund back for that reason and for the fact that these dupers have put you back into debt again and you're twirling on the end of their string again. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
You don't have to sit there and wait and be anxious and be part of this whole chaos right now.
You can watch the news or not watch the news and you'll still be okay.
Yeah.
See, the only reason I get any news is because James, our producer, brings me news. Because otherwise I don't put that crap in my brain.
You're probably a happier person for that.
Oh, I'm so much happier. I got consumed with that stuff during COVID, and I stayed so pissed off the whole time. Just because I was watching all these people being pissed off, and it just pisses you off, and you just spend all your time being mad. Why do I need this crap in my brain? So I scan Fox for about a minute and a half in the morning, just their front page of their website, and just see what's going on. So I kind of have a few of the stories out there floating around. And then you guys bring me stuff in here to do. And other than that, I'm not on freaking Facebook. And I'm sure not reading Twitter. And I'm for sure not a TikTok. So, it's just my brain I'm such a nicer person now that I did that. Y'all should have found me before. You think I'm mean now. You should have seen me back then. So seriously, you got to watch your inputs. And you don't have to watch the news if you don't have any student loan debt.
Well, and with this stuff, people are getting pretty hot about it. Like on both sides, what you just said, I'm like, Dave, you're stirring the pot. Like you're going to get some people
Oh, you mean
mad.
people are going to react to me?
Oh. Such a new thing for you.
Yeah, I'm stirring up a ruckus. Well, Here's the thing. I've been doing it for 30 years, and I've been helping you folk because I love you, and I want you to win. and I'm going to tell you the truth. And one of the things that causes you to win is a high level of integrity, personal integrity. Pay the taxes that you owe. I hate taxes, but I pay every single penny I owe. I do not cheat. I do not lie on my tax return. Not because the IRS is wonderful, not because Congress doesn't suck. Neither one of those are true. Congress does suck and the IRS is not wonderful. That has nothing to do with my integrity. Whether I pay my taxes says my integrity. And if you want to win, you got to have integrity, folks. It's a long-term play. And so I love you enough to tell you the truth. Have integrity. It's one of the things that causes people to win with life and money. It's an amazing thing. So if that messes up your tic-tac, well, have at it. This is The Ramsey Show. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Dave is in Denver. Hi, Dave. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Hey, so I'm thinking about making a career change. I just want to know if it's something wise. Little background, we're in baby step 7. We have some cash stored up in our savings, and we got, some retirement saved as well. I'm thinking of making a transition into being a mortgage loan officer. Currently, I'm a police officer making about $110,000 a year before overtime, but looking to make this career change.
Okay. Why would you do that right now?
It's not. I love my agency. I love being a police officer in a lot of ways, but I love my kids more. And I'm looking, with the swing and graveyard shifts that I'm doing, I'm often gone, and I'm looking to kind of have more time making it to soccer games and things like that.
Is the 110
really getting back with my kids?
Yeah, is the 110? Is it a combination of a lot of overtime, or is that your 40 hours?
I'm actually a sergeant, so that's my base, and then I get overtime beyond that. The other thing too is I also I did 10 years in the Army, and so I get some VA benefits, about $3,700 a month. So that could supplement us in the first year or two while I make the transition, if that were the case.
Okay. I think if you want to change careers, I'm perfectly fine with that. One of the things you have to really study is the timing of your career change. We've had more mortgage companies close up shop completely, go broke and shut down in the last 6 months than at any time in the last decade. And most mortgage companies have reduced their staff by anywhere from 50 to 70%. And the reason is that with interest rates being 6%, refinances have all but stopped. And most of the business that most of the money the mortgage companies were making was not off of new sales, it was off of refinances. And so they would take a 3% loan or a 3% mortgage rate, refinance a 4%, and it would come out good. They're laying off mortgage underwriters. They're laying off people and or closing their doors at a unbelievable rate at this particular moment, because the mortgage business has just stopped with the increase in rates until we see. Now, they are still seeing some loans go through, and the loans that are going through are new house purchases or the purchase of new properties, but refinance business is all but dried up. And it was a large percentage of their annual income at the typical mortgage company. So back in the day, 2 years ago, you could have made a couple of hundred a year as a mortgage originator. Pretty easy. And you could have learned the business and gone in, and I would have told you to go do that. But right now, I wouldn't go in to that right now. Not today.
What's making you want to pick that industry? Because that is quite different from police.
Yeah. No, I've been thinking about it. I really want to get into the marketplace. It really excites me. I'm a big fan of the Monk and the Merchant. And I just want to break in the marketplace. The firm that they said they would take me on, it's a small firm, but they do a lot of deals. Now, I say that, but they've been averaging per broker one mortgage a month over the past few months because they obviously, like what you're saying, it's been really slow.
Yeah, that's not $110,000 a year.
No, not even close.
No.
But I didn't know if it'd be acceptable to do it now to kind of learn the business.
I would want to learn the business when the business is booming, not when it's dying.
Okay.
Let's let the market recover before you enter that world, or pick something different. I don't know what drove you to that particular thing, but I mean, there's you could go into the, go get your securities license, go work for a SmartVestor Pro. And get into the financial advising business if you want to be in the marketplace and you want to deal with numbers and you want to work with that. That's available. And that's fine. There's nothing. That business is not dying. It's not booming because the market's slow and the stock market's slow and people aren't lining up to invest, but they are still investing, and they are not doing refinances. So, no, I would not enter the mortgage business today. Brand new from being a police officer, straight out of the box. It's not to say I think all mortgage companies are going to fail or they're all awful or none of that. I'm not saying any of that. They've had to reduce staff because the reality is the marketplace with the refinances has slowed down.
Well, and I know it's exciting to have an offer in hand. Like part of it is that he's got that offer, but I think it'd feel really great if you got several offers in hand. So let's get him a copy of Ken Coleman's proximity principle so he can start figuring out, who in his network has different opportunities available. Especially, I know with police work, a lot of people right now, that job is hard. And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, are kind of wanting to get out, which makes me sad. My husband's a former police officer, retired from the department after 17 years, and morale is really down right now. It's kind of, unfortunately, a self-fulfilling prophecy. When there was all the hate against police officers, it really broke my heart because when my husband went into police work, he was so excited about it. Like, he had a full ride to college, super high ACT scores, could have done anything he wanted to do, and he chose to be a police officer because he was just passionate about it. He wanted to make a difference in the world. But we went through that season of time where they got a lot of hate, and it really took a lot of the spirit out of a lot of the police officers who did it for passion and were just really excited to get in there. So I've been saying, let's be careful what we say towards police, because the more you hate on police, they're going to be, one, a mass exodus of the best and brightest ones. And it's going to be harder to recruit people who are great at that field. So in that, I've seen in the last couple of years, man, these police officers, they feel beat up. They just feel, heartbroken. And I know that there are some bad police officers, but a lot of them are amazing. And they did it out of passion, and they are there to serve, and they are just so excited to show up. So I can sense that, in this last call, there may be that feeling of like, I just want out. I'm just worn out, and it's easy to grab that first job. But, taking some time and going, okay.
This is not the month I would go into the mortgage business. I would find a different month to do it, or I would find a different thing to go into this month. I don't mind you changing careers. You've done a great job with your money. You're in really good shape. So hang on. We're going to set you up with Ken Coleman's assessment, which will help you figure out some things you could do now and help you line out that way. And we'll also send you From Paycheck to Purpose, the book that Christina was talking about, and we'll help you with that whole process. But I personally love the mortgage business. Grew up in the real estate business. I love everything about that whole world. But this is exactly the wrong month. exactly the wrong
You
one.
may be leaving a stressful career for another stressful
You may
career.
be leaving a stressful career for no money at all for a while. And that's just not, this is not the time to do that. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Thank you for joining us, America. We're so glad you're here. I don't think it's any secret that we love Christmas time around here. I do. Ho, ho, ho. There you go. And hey, it is a super busy time of year. And if you're still shopping for the folks on your list, you don't have to give a less meaningful gift just because the clock is ticking. Right now, you can find something for everyone on your list and get free shipping on orders over $40. You have until December 8th to get free shipping and have your gifts in time for Christmas. Some of the favorite gifts that go out this year, the 2023 Ramsey Gold Planner. And I said the other day with Rachel on there, I thought they were sold out. They're not quite sold out, but very close. And Rachel Cruz's new wallet in red. There you go. There's your Christmas thing. And for the men, new Ramsey apparel, t-shirts, crew necks, hoodies, all with some of your favorite Ramsey sayings on them. And all your friends, family, and coworkers, questions for humans, conversation cards. These are a must. Check it all out. RamseySolutions.com. RamseySolutions.com, and free shipping on orders over $40. Check it out. RamseySolutions.com. Thank you for joining us, America. Christina Ellis, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Katie is in Colorado Springs. Hi, Katie. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, good afternoon.
Afternoon. What's up?
I guess basically to narrow my question and try to keep it as simple as it can be. My husband and we run a business. And I just have tried to come up with different ways on establishing a budget, a cash flow process. The business that we run in is general contracting, and so with subcontractors and different things, it can be up in the air. It's not always consistent. It's not always the same, things like that. And thank you. I guess every direction, every way that I've tried to establish a budget, it just always seems to be too complicated, I guess. And I don't know if that's really such a thing, but I just need I don't even know where to begin anymore. I've gone rounds in circles, it seems, with trying to create a cash flow system.
What kind of sub is he? What does he do?
So we do painting and flooring and other general contract work in drywall, flooring, painting, decks, interior, exterior, things like that.
Okay, and he's not a general contractor, he's providing the labor and doing the work.
Yes.
How many people on your team?
We run about 5, and then we have consistently about up to 4 to 5, and then we have other contractors, crews, I guess, that we pull in as needed.
When you look around your community, do you see someone who seems to be running their business in a very business-like, button-up, got their crap together manner?
Yes, but not in. I guess not in our.
But they're subcontractors.
Not really. Not in our line.
No,
not
I'm saying
in our line of work,
drywall contractor, flooring contractor, a subcontractor that does plumbing. I don't care. Mm-hmm. So if you can find someone or one or two like that, ask them what software they're using, because there's a lot of good different builder softwares out there. apps that will help you manage this. Okay? There's 2 or 3 components to you getting your arms around this. And if you do not get your arms around this, you're going to go broke. Because your world is full of broke people, zombies that are walking around still open that don't even know they're not profitable.
Exactly. And that's what I like from my perspective. Like, I see that. And I guess my challenge has been in a way, to try to come up with a way that will be.
You've got to get your hands around it, and there's honestly there's software that will really help you do that. There's I was talking to a general contractor this week that's using for residential, and our commercial contractor is building our buildings. They're all using project management software that tracks every line item of the budget and keeps everything in line. And you're just all you're doing is recording it as it goes along. And then it's spitting out reports for you. So the elements of what you're doing are this. First, there's the overall budget. And the overall budget is this month, this coming month, what have I got coming in and what have I got going out? And write that down. And then give every dollar an assignment. And you can tell this month. You might not know about September right now. But you know the jobs he's on, you know the contractors you're taking a draw from, you know what jobs are about to be completed and you're going to get your final check on, you know that some of them wait 30 days to pay you, you know exactly where you stand. You can get very, very close to the cash coming in this month and the cash going out this month and writing all of that down. That is a budget, okay? And that you can do that without software, but I don't recommend it. It's just a pain in the butt. The second layer to this that is essential to staying open, and most subs don't do this, and it kills their profitability, kills their cash flow, and increases their stress. We work with the construction businesses all the time, you can tell. Now, the simple accounting term is called job costing. And that simply means that you've got a job for Joe and Susie over here, and you're putting a deck on their house. You have to run that job as if it's its own standalone business. What are they paying you for the deck? What are you paying for the wood, the nails, the saw blades, and the labor, the delivery, the flat tire? What are you attributing to that deck of overhead? And then what's your profit on that deck? So your income on the deck, every element of cost goes to a certain code, and you've got deck 01 is your code, and that's the first deck you did this year, and everything in that one, everything that's attributed to that job goes in there, and then you can tell if you actually made a profit. Based on the bid that you gave them. It will change your estimating later for future businesses, for future jobs that look similar, because you go, on that last one, we lost our butt. Because wood got us, or we had no idea we're going to go through 73 blades, or whatever it is. I mean, you get these things that come up, and but you can't tell that if you're just throwing it against the wall to see what sticks. So you need some software that helps you do your overall budgeting and helps you do job costing, which is effectively a profit and loss statement on each and every job.
That's such a good point, Dave. And I feel like so many businesses struggle with this. It's what puts a lot of businesses out of business. And I'm curious, back in the day when you started this business, there wasn't all the different software. How did you start with budgeting for business?
Well, we started with, before computers were that big. So, I mean, it was literally, we're keeping it by hand. But the first thing I bought was something like QuickBooks. And it was just a simple little, back in the day, you would load a floppy disk, okay? And you'd load that software on there, and it would help you run a basic profit and loss statement, a basic balance sheet. It wasn't that good, but it was about the best thing out there then. Then there was another one we advertised for a while. I think it's still open, and they do a good job. It's FreshBooks, I believe it was called. And but just look around in the industry that you're in and figure out. Peachtree is another one we got later. Okay, now we're with Oracle. Now we're with NetSuite with Oracle, but that's a super expensive for a larger business. I mean, we're a $300 million business, so it's a different situation than 5 people on your team. So you wouldn't want NetSuite from Oracle. But if you're running a business our size, NetSuite's incredible. We just converted to it, 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and the reporting and stuff we're getting out of it, it's an amazing software for the detail and we've got all these different profit centers within Ramsey that we're tracking, and not unlike her, but with more zeros and more complication. So, but the point is there's some general software out there, and then there's, in the construction business, there is some really good apps and some really good project management that has P&Ls, or estimating and job costing built into it. And they're not super expensive. You've just got to go research, figure out what people in your business are doing, find best practices, and go implement them.
So you've made these changes throughout the years, and found better products. How can a business discern when it's time to change?
Oh, we were breaking it. I mean, we had old Peachtree. It would just collapse. It would fall in on itself. It would freeze up. We'd have to reboot. We'd have to clean up stuff. We had so much weight on it, it couldn't carry it. And it was not made for as far as we took it. And then we had something after that before we went to NetSuite. I'm trying to remember what the one that we punted out. It did okay for like 5 years or 6 years. So as the size and the complexity of the business increased, and the software that we were using, the budgeting software, the financial software, did not increase in sophistication and in capacity, we would collapse it. It would fall in on itself. Stupid computer would freeze up. You couldn't get your reports out. Takes 6.5 minutes to do something, should be half a second, that kind of thing. And you quickly realize you got to move out of it. But right now at this moment, the technologies that are out there to help you guys run your businesses are really good. But you've got to actually go do the work. And then you got to put the numbers into the software every month, every week. Very important. But it'll change your stress level in your business considerably. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. Dave here. You can find all of our shows with the Ramsey Network app on your smartphone. It's the only place to listen to the entire back catalog of episodes. Download the Ramsey Network app in your favorite app store today. From the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios, it's the Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. We help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Christina Ellis, #1 best-selling author, Ramsey personality, is my co-host today. Our phone number is a free call, and some say the advice is worth exactly what you pay for it. The phone number is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. JC is starting off this hour in San Diego. Hi, JC. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Christina, thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Should we pay off our mortgage?
Yes.
Or do a loan recast or continue our current path?
Can you pay it off today?
Yes. The only thing is we would be using all of our liquid assets in an exception of maybe $10,000, $15,000.
What's your household income?
$130,000.
And how much your house payment?
Monthly mortgage is $3,100. Mortgage that's left is $152,000 at 3.25% interest.
Okay. Now, by liquid assets, you're not talking about retirement accounts. You're just talking about money you have in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, money markets, that kind of stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
Where did the savings come from? So that 152, has it just been sitting there in savings?
So, yeah, it's just sitting there, and, we always like to be comfortable of having enough. That's why it's just been sitting there.
Okay.
Okay. What is do you have any hesitations on paying off the mortgage other than the comfort aspect? Because in my book, it seems like you'd be more comfortable having no payments.
The main question is not having liquid assets if we would want to buy another property.
Mm.
So you would borrow on your home to buy another property?
Okay.
No. I'm asking that as a question. Would you, if your house was paid off, would you borrow against it to buy another property?
I would not. I would rather not do that. I want to pay it off completely.
No. That wasn't what I asked. Stop. I said, if your house was paid off, would you borrow on your home to buy an investment property?
No.
Okay. Then if you use this money to buy an investment property that should have been used to pay off your house, it's exactly the same thing. It's as if you have borrowed on your home to buy that property. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Same exact decision. So, how old are you guys?
Going to be 50 and then 49.
Okay. Here's what I would do. And you can do what you want to do, but you called and asked us. And then I'll tell you why I would do it. I would write a check by the end of the week and do a Merry Christmas dance in the freaking front yard that my house was paid for. Okay? Put jingle bells around your neck and go out there and disco in the front yard and drive the neighbors crazy, right? You got to do something to celebrate. So now you're 100% debt-free, house and everything. What's this house worth?
$750.
Okay. How much is in your retirement accounts?
I would say around 100.
Okay. So you're almost millionaires.
Right.
Pretty close. Okay. So you're very, very close. So soon you're going to be baby steps millionaires. The reason now I would tell you to do that is this. When you have no payments in the world, you're going to breathe deeper than you've breathed, than you've been able to take a breath into your lungs for years. Your shoulders are going to be more relaxed, and you're going to be able to sit down with a budget and go, I'm going to invest $5,000 a month into an investment to pay cash for future properties and to give me a big old pile of cash. Now, if we invest $5,000 a month for 10 months, how much is in the account? 5 times 10.
Right now it's...
No. If you start from zero and you invest $5,000 a month for 10 months, would you have $50,000?
Correct.
10 months later, would you have $100,000?
Correct.
Plus whatever the market has grown if you're in good mutual funds during that time. And 10 months later, so 2.5 years from today. Let me tell you what happened 2.5 years ago today. We were not yet in COVID. That's how fast 2.5 years ago goes. Okay? In 2.5 years, you are going to have $200,000 approximately. You follow me?
That sounds great.
Yeah. But just investing your house payment plus a little bit more, and now you're an investor instead of being fed on by the mortgage company. Now you've got money working on you in your direction. If you will simply turn your old mortgage payment, $3,100 plus $1,900 more, and you got that, into investments, you're going to put the money back so fast. And would you agree with me that an extra $50,000 in 10 months is going to be pretty comfortable?
Yes.
Without a house payment, for sure. So we're not suggesting you live with $10,000 or $15,000 after paying off your house for a long period of time, just for 1 month. Then the next month it's +5, and the next month it's +5, and the next month it's +5, or whatever number you decide to put in. Maybe you're going to put in 7,000 because you could, easy, without a house payment. This is the shortest, proper way that people build wealth. It is not popular with people who want to build wealth quick, who want to get rich quick or quote unquote easy. But there's a lot of peace with this. There's a lot of relaxed with this. And there's no risk with this. Oh, and by the way, if 2 years from today you hate being debt-free, you can go get you another mortgage. You could, couldn't you? If I'm completely wrong, yes. If I messed you over with this advice, that crazy butt Dave Ramsey over there in Nashville, he lost his dadgum mind. I'm going to go back in debt. You could go get you a mortgage. So I dare you to try it. I dare you to try to endure this level of financial peace. I don't know if you'll be able to stand it. It's going to be so awesome. You may have to go back into debt because you won't be able to stand this much fun. Love sarcasm. Well done. You've done a great job. Go pay off your house, kiddo. Well, we're in the holiday season. Our brains are focused on buying presents, decorating homes, and all the Christmas and New Year's celebrations. All of a sudden, it's January. And now some people feel like they've gotten a financial hangover. It doesn't have to be that way. You can start the new year strong. Set yourself up for a strong new year. Join us for our Building Wealth live event here in Nashville on January the 12th. This one-night event will help you kick off 2023 feeling confident about your finances, even in this crazy economy. Join me, Rachel Cruz, George Camel, Ken Coleman, and Dr. John Deloney as we walk you through a simple but proven plan to get back on track and build wealth. Yes, it is possible. Our Building Wealth events have been huge. They've all been sold out all through last year. Nashville is coming up next. Then we're headed to Indianapolis, Austin, Salt Lake City, Anaheim. All dates here in the spring. You can get tickets to any of them. Passes start as low as $49. Seats are limited for this event, so hurry. Reserve your seat for our Building Wealth live in Nashville today. RamseySolutions.com/events. RamseySolutions.com/events. 100% of your credit score is based on you interacting with debt. Your FICO score is not determined by you winning financially. Your boss could walk in today, he's not going to, she's not going to, and say, you now make $1 million a year, and your FICO score will not change 1 point. The phone could ring, and your grandmother could say your rich uncle that you didn't know you had just died and left you $10 million, and your FICO score will not change 1 point. Your FICO score is not a sign you are winning with money. It's a sign you have played kissy face with the bank. It is based on the debt that you have, the debt load, the type of debt, the length of time you've had the debt, the ratio of the debt to your income, how you have paid the payments on your debt. It is an I love debt score. Mathematically speaking, the algorithm says that the way to have a 750 or 810 FICO score, the only way to have that is to really, really love debt. You have to keep a lot of it, and you have to pay it. It will cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over a decade to build a FICO score and keep a FICO score of 800 because it's the only way that FICO score is calculated. It is not an I'm winning with money score. It's an I love to support the bank because they're so awesome score. In other words, it's dumber than a freaking rock. So here's what happens. When you quit borrowing money and you've paid off all of your debt and you don't have a single account open, your FICO score will disappear within about a year. As a matter of fact, they will treat you like you have moved to Mars, like you have one eye in the center of your head. Your FICO score is now undeterminable. Ooh. You mean you can't determine that I haven't borrowed money? I think it just means it's zero, but it's undeterminable.
Ooh.
It's like going to the airport. It's a terminal. I don't want to do things that are terminal. I want to do things that bring me life. If they say you have terminal cancer, that's not good, but we go to the airport and we call it a terminal. Undeterminable. Oh.
Ooh.
Oh.
Sounds spooky.
It's a problem. So years ago, I quit borrowing money. So I haven't had a FICO score in like 30 years. I'm not really here. I'm off the grid. This is actually a hologram. I don't really exist because according to you people, I don't have a FICO score, so I'm a nobody. But according to my banker, I'm a nobody with millions of dollars in her bank. And I still have a zero FICO score, a undeterminable FICO score. And guess who just joined the club?
It's my zero FICO score day. We sold our house in May, took about 5.5 months, and my FICO score is zero.
That was your only debt.
Yep.
And you sold the house. The mortgage is gone.
Yep.
You're a renter.
Yep.
Temporarily right now until you figure out the housing market and what you're going to do. And from May to basically end of November, beginning of December, I have not had a single piece of activity and zero accounts open of any kind and no lates on there and no bad debts on there, obviously. And that's how long it took for your FICO score to evaporate.
Yes, it's gone. And it's so funny. The email was basically like, oh, we don't know what happened. This happens sometimes, but we can help you correct it.
Yeah, sometimes horrible things happen to people, and we're here to help. We're from FICO.
Right. You're debt-free? Wait, what? We can help you get back in debt.
You haven't made offerings to the great gods of FICO. You need to make offerings of interest. Oh, great FICO, you are the provider of all good things. We bring you offerings of interest so that we can buy anything we want on credit later. So you borrow money. Why? So that your FICO score goes up. Why? So that you can borrow more money. So why? Because your FICO score goes up. So why? So you can borrow more money. I had a dog that used to chase its tail, and he was crazy. And this culture does it every day. And you're free.
I'm free. Man, it feels good. It's kind of nerve-wracking, like when you're in that process of waiting for it to go to zero.
Because we were talking about this about a month ago. You're going, are you sure it's going to go away? And I'm like, I'm not sure of anything with FICO, except that when you quit borrowing money, eventually they're going to cause you to say you don't exist.
Yeah. I was like, Dave, how long? How many more weeks? How many more months? And he was just like, just stay the course, Christina.
I said, I think it's going to be a year. Because at that point, so what is it, 7-8 months?
Yeah.
Something like that for it to go away, right? 7 months. 7 months, yeah, for it to go away before. And it went down before that.
Yeah, it had a good 100
What did it start at? Up in the 700s.
Yeah, 700 range.
Yeah, all right. And it's because you'd paid your mortgage on time, you'd paid everything on time, and then you got out of debt, and then you sold the house. And so you went from 700. So you had a fabulous, by all standards, FICO score, and it eroded. It went down to 600s.
Yeah. And we're still in the house.
Did it go into the 500s?
I mean, I wasn't
You
checking.
were checking
I
it.
was just waiting for my zero.
You're asking me about it. It's scaring me. It's getting low.
Well, I was just waiting for emails. I was waiting for the email that said zero. And so they sent me an email saying that it had been updated. And so I was like, ooh, it's zero. And then I went and it was 600. And I was like, oh, being in the housing market, that's kind of nerve-wracking.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Someday I want to buy a house and I can't do that with a 600. When's this thing going to go to zero, Dave? And I'm like, all the data that we have, all you people out there that we work with, all the stuff you send us, everything we keep up with from you guys, the research, we don't know because FICO doesn't publish their algorithms, right? They don't tell us what the thing is, but just observing people that have done what you do, it takes 6 months to a year, and yours took 7 months.
Yep. Followed the path.
And George had a 0 FICO score, went and got a mortgage with manual underwriting with Churchill Mortgage. And so if you're going to go get a mortgage with Churchill Mortgage and you have a 0 credit score and undeterminable, they will write you a mortgage, and it's exactly the same rate as if you had a 700 or an 800 FICO score. Only they have to do stuff like do manual underwriting. So they have to verify that you have money with your bank. They have to verify that you have a job, which is what they ought to freaking be doing anyway. What are you doing, giving people a loan based on one number? I'm going to loan you $800,000 for a house. Why? Because you have one number that says FICO, FICO, FICO.
Oh, that's so crazy. It's crazy how our system rewards debt and people who are doing
It's more than rewards it. I mean, by God, it manipulates it and causes it. People just, because I've been doing this for 30 years. The amount of hate mail and hate crap I get to this day telling people to not borrow money and get rid of their stupid, kissy face, I love debt score is crazy. I'm keeping my credit cards open because Dave Ramsey doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, he's only got several $100 million, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. God, man, it's dumber than a rock. Just dumber than a freaking rock. Way to go! You joined the club, girl!
I'm weird!
This is The Ramsey Show. Christina Ellis, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. Merry Christmas to you. If you're out on your Christmas travels and over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go, and Nashville is on the river or the woods or whatever it is along the way, you can stop by. We'd love to have you sit and watch the show. We do the show every day on the glass from 1 to 4 with free homemade cookies and coffee, and there's usually 50 to 200 folks in here watching the show, and during the holidays, sometimes even more. And, of course, the bookstore's open and the museum and the picture opportunities and all the stuff. Our lobby is all set up for our fans and our visitors and our listeners to come by, so we hope you do. In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions, one of the items is the debt-free stage with a big debt-free plaque right in the middle of it. And if you come here to do your debt-free scream, of course, that's where you stand. And thus is what's happening with Jonathan and Lachey. Welcome, guys. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good, thank you.
How are you guys?
Merry Christmas. Good to have
Christmas.
you. Where do you guys live?
We live in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Very cool. All right. Tell us, how much debt have you paid off?
So we paid off $53,804.95.
And how long did this take?
24 months.
Good for you. And your range of income during that time?
We started around about $35,000, and now we're at about $90,000 a year.
Okay, $35,000, and now you're at $90,000. Way to go. What do you guys do for a living?
Yeah, I work with a ed tech company online, and I work in the technical support area.
Cool.
And I work at the airport, working on the line as a marshal or crewman.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay. Help folks park where they're supposed to.
That's right.
That's good. Without touching those wings. Yeah, very good. Good for you. So what kind of debt was the $54,000?
All student loans.
All student loans. Old Sally Mae was hanging out.
Yeah. That's right.
She's
Gave
evicted.
her eviction papers, baby. You are hitting the road, oh woman. Get out of my house. How long you two been married?
It's been 2 years so far.
Yeah. Okay. So right after you get married, you say, listen, I want to be married to you. Sally Mae's not staying in our house.
Exactly.
It was like
so what
2
was the
months.
plan? Tell me how all this happened.
Yeah. So I grew up with my parents doing financial peace, and they did the kids version of it with us. And then.
So you're a financial peace baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then 2 months after getting married, we were like, okay, we have all these dreams, but we can't do it with debt coming behind us and all. So we decided to hop on the train and do it.
Cool. All right. So Jonathan Lachey says, hey, when I was a kid, we did this weird stuff. And I want you to do this weird stuff now, like get out of debt. What'd you say?
Actually, my mom had been to some of the classes as well.
Oh, you're a financial peace baby too?
Yeah, I'd heard about it. I never really took it super seriously, but I'd heard of them. And basically, we saw this opportunity online to get your book for free, the Financial Peace book. And we also found the Every Dollar Budgeting app. I'd been using it. And we just, once we got married, we were like, hey, we want to seriously do this so we can start a family off on the right foot.
Dive in, huh?
Yeah.
Dive in.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Okay, so the decision's made. You're both on board. What did this journey look like for you guys?
Man, it was a lot of sacrifices. We definitely, we lived like nobody else so that later we could live and give like no one else. And we did a lot of extra jobs, and we lived in literally a basement apartment for a long time, and
no
just
windows, no light.
Yeah, not much. And I did everything like lawn care. We sold a bunch of random stuff we had, just everything to go all in and make it happen. And we had sold off, I think, within the first year and a half, we were down to $13,500, and that was when we figured out that Lachey was pregnant with Caden. And so that was our motivation to just say, hey, we're going to get this done before this child is born. And so he'll be born into a debt-free family.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's a milestone.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very cool. I bet both parents are cheering you on because they're financial peace people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got big cheerleaders all in the family.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
you're bringing a grandbaby in, so that makes you hugely popular.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no question at that point you are very likable kids.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you guys are young, you're newlyweds. A lot of newlyweds are not thinking about this at all. They're just living their best lives, YOLOing. Is that what they say?
Something
You're cool enough. You know that's what they say.
I know.
Don't act like you're old.
I've
I don't
never
know what
actually,
the young people say.
I've never actually used that word myself without joking. But, so a lot of people aren't doing this. Did your friends think you were weird?
My friends were like, whoa, I want to be you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Yeah, set the standard. Set the bar.
Yeah.
Well done.
So what would you tell newlyweds who are, kind of tempted to close their eyes, put their head in the sand, and stay in debt? What would you tell them to get them started on this journey?
I would say it's worth it, not just for your financial sake, but just for your marriage overall. I think it brings up a lot of tough conversations that you need to have. And then at the end of the journey, you feel like a really strong team, basically.
Yeah. Y'all are a little too sweet and too perfect. All right, tell me the truth. What was the big money fight you had during the 2 years?
Oh, man.
What was the one thing where you're like, I just about killed him?
For us, the hard thing is trips. Like, we want to go travel and take big trips, and it's been so hard to just say, like, hey, we're going to do small stuff right now, We actually, right after we got married, well, we were going to get married, and then COVID hit 2020, and we had to cancel our honeymoon to Iceland. And basically, we took all that money and put it towards our debt. And that was a hard move, but we realized it was something we needed to do to get started.
So when you going to Iceland?
I don't know.
Whenever we plan it.
Whenever you want now. You don't need debt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a great trip, I've heard. It's one I haven't done that one, but I've got friends and family that have, and they just think it's incredible. So you got to do it.
Yes.
You got to do it now. So that's cool. So that still didn't answer my question because you still were like too sweet. You're like, well, we couldn't take big trips. I said, when did you have a big fight is what I asked.
I think it's based around trips. So like I was raised to just doing like 4-star hotels and like stuff like that. And
so he was trying to cover for you.
he
didn't want to throw you under the bus and answering my question.
So he's like, so I'm more like, we can do this and like spend this, and he's more so like, no, we can't. So
no, we're not.
I think that's where we still.
You're talking Four Seasons. I'm talking tent.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. All right.
Pretty much. Yeah. That's where we still butt heads.
Yeah. Okay. Now I got it. Now we're coming clean. Good. Hey, you guys are sweet. You're powerful. You're heroes. Well done. And then you had the baby on the way. And so how old is your baby?
6 months.
6 months old. And name?
Caden.
Little Caden. All right. Way to go, biggin. I love it. Sitting over there with Janelle. Janelle's hating that. So good stuff. So what do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
I would say number one thing is just seek to honor the Lord with your finances and understand that it's bigger than just yourself. It's your family. It's your generations after you. It's about making a change and also just getting on the same page in your marriage regarding your finances. Because if you're on different pages, you're just going to butt heads. It's like one of the number one causes of divorce. I don't know if it's the biggest one, but finances are a huge deal. And if you get on the same page early on, it's way easier, I'm sure.
Yeah. How old are you two?
I'm 24.
And I'm 25.
Why did you not wait on student loan forgiveness?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't even a thing when we started paying off debt. So
I never really believed that was going to be a thing. So now he said we're going to go do it. Forget waiting for somebody else, the government, to take care of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Amen.
24 years old. You guys are amazing. I'm so proud of you. Very well done. I know your mom and dad are proud of both of you, and you got a great start. And little Caden's mom and dad are heroes. You set him up to win. You guys are ready to go, man. It's pretty amazing. So let's get him in the picture. We got the Live and Give bundle for y'all. And that includes the Total Money Makeover book to give away to somebody that you've inspired. The Baby Steps Millionaires book for you. That's your next chapter for sure. Go ahead and be millionaires. And Live and Give like no one else. And Financial Peace University, a 1-year membership. So any of that you're welcome to keep or welcome to give it. It's our gift to you, and say we're proud of you and thanks for coming to Nashville. Jonathan and Lachey and Caden from Wilmington, North Carolina. $54,000 paid off in 24 months, making $35,000 to $90,000. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
we're
debt-free! Yeah! I love this Gen Z generation. Man, the ones that are on it are more on it than any gen I've seen so far. 18 years old with $75,000 saved, 24 years old. I'm not waiting on the government. You're kidding me. Our scripture of the day, Psalm 34:4. I sought the Lord, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears. Cornelia Funke says, children's author says, nothing is more terrifying than fearlessness. Woo! You know what? That's the truth.
Right? That's powerful.
That's a different level of swagger right there. Nothing is more terrifying than fearlessness. When you're on the other side of an equation from something or someone that is fearless, that is terrifying. I agree.
It's powerful.
Good place to live, too. I like it. It's a good place to live. Fearless. And part of being fearless is being debt-free. Part of being fearless is knowing who your God is. Part of being fearless is knowing where you stand in your relationships. And part of being fearless is knowing where you stand in your career and where your income comes from. And when you get those things that we talk about around Ramsey all the time in place, it does put a different level of courage into you.
Well, and I think part of being fearless is not the absence of fear. It's not that you never have fears. It's being willing to do things in spite of the things that scare you to death. It's being willing to put yourself out there and to go through the journey, even if you are afraid. It's not that the fears don't exist. It's that you're willing to plow forward regardless of if you feel that fear.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, when stuff even comes at you, then you go, yeah, but what's the worst thing that can happen? And it does take, because, I'm not going to lose my house. I don't have a mortgage. What's the worst thing that can happen? What are you going to do to me? Fire me? I'll get another job and make more than I make here. And I don't have to put up with you. That'd be great. Fire away. How big's the severance? Let's have it, It changes everything. It changes the negotiation. It changes the whole process. Hey, folks, if you like this show, help us out. We have found that the folks over at Spotify say we are in the top 1% of all podcasts in the world for having been shared. We are shared so often that we're in the top 1% of sharing, or whatever you want to call that. I don't know what you call it, but anyway. So thank you. Thank you for doing that at Spotify. Thank you for doing it at Apple. Thank you for doing it with YouTube. Thank you for telling your friends and neighbors that we're on your local talk radio station. If you're in a situation on one of those digital platforms where you can leave a review, leave a 5-star review, or don't leave one, But we do need your reviews, and we do need you to say that you think the show is awesome. We don't need it, but it helps us spread the word, and it takes the internet algorithm and kicks it into gear and lets people know that we're out here. Because all we're doing is helping people. This is all about hope. And subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube, and tell people to do that. Those numbers help as well. It helps us do everything we do here for more and more and more people, and just spread this message of hope. It's a real message, and it really does work. Chris is with us in New York City. Hi, Chris. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Christina. How are you guys doing?
Great. How can we help?
Doing well. So my headline question, and I can give you the context, is how do you decide if it's worth it or not to move based on the cost of living from a personal finance perspective? Me personally, I'm kind of on the fence on where I live now, despite the fact I'm doing well and I like my job. I'm 25, have $150,000 annual income, $100,000 saved away in retirement funds, only a couple $100 of debt. And it's just an interesting time right now because New York City in particular, like the rent rates have gone through the roof. The taxation rates are, I don't even have to tell you how high they are. So how do you kind of, in your experience, when have you seen it be worth it to move if someone's already, if I like my job, I'm doing well, but, the cost of living where I happen to be is just so astronomically high versus like almost anywhere else in the country.
Agreed, it is. And most of that cost of living is real estate in your case. The cost of rent, of rent to live on Manhattan it's just terrible. Compared to the rest of the country, it's bizarre. You got to make a lot of money. You do make a lot of money. Congratulations.
Do you think you can make a similar amount of money somewhere else?
Yeah, so that's, I think, the biggest problem because it's like there's this risk where I'd have to go out and search really hard to find another job. I haven't yet, to be honest. I've skimmed a little bit. And usually, you don't see it that high.
What do you do?
You might not like this to some extent. I'm a stock market researcher, so on individual companies.
I don't dislike that at all. Somebody needs to research it. I'm not against the stock market. I buy mutual funds all the time, and those mutual funds depend on research. So I've got a friend that is a young friend for a guy 62. He's in his 40s, and he makes about $300 to $400 a year. And he does research and analytics for one of the big mutual fund companies, and he does it from his office in his home and has for 10 years. Before work from home was cool, he was doing work from home. And he has lived in ski resort areas. He has lived in Nashville now and so forth. And so, I think you can do your job and the job of analytics from almost anywhere, and I don't think they require you to be in the city physically anymore.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. It's interesting that even for us, during COVID, we were totally work from home. Now I got to be in the office 3 days a week.
Yeah, but I'm saying there might be competitors or there might be people in specific fields using your same skills. A certain industry that you research and you become known for that industry for one of the mutual fund companies or something like that you can do totally work from home. My buddy did it before work from home was a thing.
Yeah. And you think in most cases it's probably worth it at this, especially if I start.
It's what you want. Where do you want to live? You're a single guy. I take it. You live in New York City. It's very cool and very fun to live in New York City in a lot of ways. I love visiting there. I personally, it wouldn't be the quality of life I want to live there. But I do enjoy the city. I used to enjoy it a lot more than I do now. It's kind of screwed up there right now, but it's a great town. It's got a great vibe. I love the energy. I love New Yorkers. People that have lived there their whole lives and stuff, I always relate to them because they're high energy, they're butt kickers, they get it done. I like the environment. I like the culture of it. But I still wouldn't want to live in the city. I got enough country boy in me. I want some green grass.
Yeah, so it's interesting you mentioned that because I'm originally from upstate New York, but after living here the past 2 years, I've come to like the area. I have a lot of family and friends connections here.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's nothing wrong with staying there. You're not doing anything morally wrong. You're not being irresponsible. You make enough money to live there, but it's going to cost you more to live there, so you're not going to prosper mathematically as much as if you made 150 somewhere else. So it's okay to move. There's nothing, but if you're wanting us to tell you to move, we're not going to tell you to move. Now, if you told me you made $60,000 a year and you couldn't make ends meet on Manhattan, I would say that's true. You're probably not living in Manhattan making $60K. It's probably not happening. I mean, you might for a little while, but it's, woo-wee. That's a tough one.
Yeah, and with his career field, he has a great chance of that income continuing to increase. So, I mean, if you love New York, if that's somewhere where you want to stay and you see your salary continue to go up, then I think eventually you'll have more margin to save.
Yeah. What I would do is say, where do I want to build my life today? And by the way, doesn't have to be permanent. Where do I want to build my life tomorrow in the next season of my life? I mean, you might say, hey, I want to stay here, and you might marry a lady and you both decide to stay there, or you might go, hey, we're going to move and raise kids in a different environment. You could do that. Any of those things will work. Any of those things will be fine. So it's just a matter of what you guys want, what you want to do, and later, if there's a you guys, what you guys want to do later. But, you know, you should make those choices based on lifestyle as long as the math will work. And in your case, you've got the option because the math works.
Yeah, exactly. This would be a totally different conversation, like Dave said, if you made $60,000 a year, because that would be a true challenge. Yeah. But thankfully, you have the margin right now.
I do not think to be in your field, you have to stay there, though. I think with your company, you might have to stay there. But I don't think you have to stay there to be in your field. So I would check that part out if you want to move. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. Thanks to Austin, Ben, Zach, Andrew, and James in the booth dudes. They make this thing happen. This is The Ramsey Show. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Have you been inspired to make a change with your money? Want to know where to start? Take our 3-minute money quiz to get a plan you can follow. Go to RamseySolutions.com and search for Get Started to get a plan for your money.